I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. Anxiety, filling up every space, no privacy. And silently, it could build and build until you finally see, whoa, it's taking over, damn no closure, moving closer. No exposure, I just wanna be a loner. Some can't stay sober, looking over all their shoulders, like moving boulders just to get out of the home. It sucks, I've had enough.
Hello, how is everyone? I hope everyone is doing well. It's been so long since I've seen you guys, So, hey, Pink Boberto, I missed you earlier. Oh my God, you have to watch it. You have got to watch the one I just did. It made me so mad, so mad. Okay, so there really isn't much update on the cases except really like Brian Koberger. Um, they've been trying to get the grand jury indictment thrown out, and the judge has ordered nope, nope, nope. It will be included in the trial. So that's good. Christmas cookies. What? I will be here live on Christmas playing Karen's because I will be here sitting alone in my room doing nothing. So I will just sit here with y'all. All right. So since there isn't many details about these current cases, guess what I found out? I found out Lori Vallow's trial date for Arizona. And I'm so excited because Betty said she might be able to go. I'm so excited. Anyway, her trial starts April 4th in Maricopa County, Arizona. Chad's trial starts April 1st in Idaho. Their trials are at the same time. A pedophile that liked infants and toddlers, Pinkbo. Yeah, it's disgusting. I forgot what I was talking about now. Oh, okay, trial dates. Let me go over trial dates of the ones that we have. Lori Vallow is now April 4th. I'll be back after this one with more. Don't worry, I'm going live again. I know, right? April Fools. You're not guilty. April Fools. All right. So right now we have Adam Montgomery. February 24th is his trial. And if you're not familiar with him, he allegedly murdered his daughter, Harmony Montgomery. They were homeless, living in a vehicle, and Harmony needed to go to the bathroom. They didn't take her to the bathroom, and she had an accident on the back seat of the vehicle. Well, he didn't like that too much, so he beat her. And he beat her for the last time because he didn't stop, and he killed her. And they would move her body wherever they went. They lived in a homeless shelter, and they had her body in the tile ceiling up above where they slept. And I think they said her body was in a bag when they would transport her, and they still haven't found the body at all. Let me see. And I mean, dude, he already got sentenced. Like, how many years for the gun charges? Like, just tell them where she is, dude. Come on. I was gonna read the probable cause to you, but it says it's 48 pages, so we're not doing that. 30 years for the gun charges and getting sentenced while he was at trial. Will getting sentenced for the gun charges. He brings up Harmony. He did not kill his daughter. There's nothing about Harmony in this case. Why are you bringing her up? Do you think that it's going to give you a more lenient sentence? Why? I don't get you, dude. Hey, Aussie True Crime, how are you? So he was arrested for second-degree murder, tampering with witnesses and informants, falsifying physical evidence, and abuse of corpse. Those are his charges. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be reading 48 pages. Let me skim through this and I'll just tell you the story. So the bio mom called and said that she hadn't heard from Harmony since Easter, I think it was, of the previous year. And yeah, Easter of the previous year. Um, I'm not sure if her mom, Crystal, was still on substance abuses, but I know that Adam and Crystal previously had issues with substance abuse. Of course, they weren't together, but Adam was with another female when this happened. The last time the mom saw Harmony was a FaceTime video, and the whole time of the video, Adam was standing on top of Harmony, listening to what they were talking about and kind of like intimidating her, on not to say certain things or stuff like that. He previously gave her a black eye. I'm talking about Harmony now. Adam previously gave Harmony a black eye in July of 2019. We stress a concern that Harmony had not been physically observed in over 2 years and that we had concerns for whether or not she was still alive. Adam did not exhibit much emotion or reaction to this. Kayla Montgomery participated in a voluntary interview with Detective. During this interview, she spoke about the last time she saw Harmony. In this interview, she told us that 2 days after Thanksgiving 2019, which would have been November 30th, 2019, Adam had taken her to work, which she said was a 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. shift at Dunkin' Donuts. She said that while Adam was dropping her off, he said he was bringing Harmony to her mom's. He said he was going to meet Harmony's mom and bring her to stay with her. Kayla said later that day Adam picked her up from work and he no longer had Harmony. He said he just dropped her off. Kayla said she assumed Adam dropped Harmony off in Massachusetts, as that is where Crystal was living at the time. I wonder how far that was apart from each other. Adam claimed he was bringing Harmony to Crystal, especially because Crystal outright denied ever taking custody of Harmony from Adam at that time, or ever seeing Harmony following the video chat in 2019. The investigation revealed that in November 2019, Crystal lived in Lowell, Massachusetts with her boyfriend. On 12/31/21, Joseph, the boyfriend, was interviewed. He confirmed he was living with Crystal in 2019, and Harmony was not with Crystal, at all from October 2019 to present. In fact, Joseph stated that he has never met Harmony in person. A review of DCYF's involvement indicated that social workers had not viewed Harmony since October 1st, 2019, during a home visit with Adam. Not only have family members seen Harmony since 2019, DCYF contacted the school on September 10th, 21. A representative from the school stated Harmony was not registered in the district. On 12/31, the court granted protective supervision of Harmony to DCYF from Adam via a juvenile abuse neglect. At that time of the order, Adam had been Harmony's sole custodian. The order stated specifically that Adam was ordered to cooperate with the police department and assist with locating Harmony. Adam refused to provide any information on the whereabouts of Harmony. When handed the order by detectives and told that he had to provide information on Harmony's whereabouts, he said, "Either arrest me or I'm leaving," and refused to answer additional questions. Adam was arrested on charges related to Harmony on January 4th, 22, and was formally charged and arraigned on January 5th, 2022. These charges consist of second-degree assault for an incident in July 2019, interference with custody, and 2 charges of endangering the welfare of a child. He has been detained at the correction center. Y'all, he is something else. This is sad. All sad. I just hope that they're able to find Harmony and bring her, to her family members, to her mom, Crystal, at least. So then we have Chad Daybell. His trial starts April 1st. The only thing going on with him, and I don't think the judge made a decision on that yet, is he's trying to get the death penalty taken off the table. Trying to use that co-defendants. Lori had the death penalty taken off the table, and therefore a part of the law, according to the defense, states that they cannot put the death penalty on the co-defendant because they took it off for Lori. So I don't know what's going on with that, if they're going to take it off or not. I hope not. Look what she did. I wish they wouldn't have took it off for Lori, but she'll die in prison anyway. It'll just take longer, maybe. And the other one with Chad, too. Well, now we know Lori starts on April 4th and Chad's April 1st. Hey, Lucky Chucky. Thank you, Lucky. You missed it earlier on my last live. They had body cam footage at the Marathon gas station, Lucky. You must tell Malloy. Yo. Okay. Let's see who else has. Oh, Alexi Treviso There isn't anything going on with that girl. Diet Dr. Pepper is the enemy. He will go straight to hell for that. It's a sin. Um, Alexi Treviso, nothing's going on with that. Just waiting for the little girl to go to trial and get found guilty for throwing that baby away. Oh my God. And then she has his ashes sitting in her front room while she's there out on bond. Doesn't go to trial until October of next year. She's out for a whole another year. She's going to college. And she's going to college with the baby's daddy, her boyfriend. The judge had ordered a no contact, and then the defense put a motion in to get it taken off and for her to go in person to college because she was doing it at home on the computer. So, yeah. Megan Boswell, Evelyn's mother. Her trial is not until 2025. February 2025. Guys, hold on one second. I saw he was live earlier, Lucky. Okay, then we have my favorite, Sarah Boone, Little Miss Suitcase Bishop. We don't know when her trial is, but she has her preliminary hearing January 16th, 2024. I am so glad that she seems to be happy with this attorney. Thank you, Jesus, that this woman finally likes someone after this is number 7 now? Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Next, we'll talk about Adam Fravel, who is accused of killing his baby mama, Madeline Kingsbury. They had 2 children together. They were not in a relationship together, but they were living together, co-parenting for the children. Um, Madeline was seeing someone else. She wanted to move out. She did let Adam know, and this is what happened to her. He's charged with murder in the 2nd degree. And so on March 31st, 2023, at approximately 8:20 p.m., the Winona Police Department was contacted by a person who identified herself as a friend of Madeline Jane Kingsbury. The friend reported to police that she was concerned with the health and safety of Madeline. According to the friend, Madeline had not attempted to contact or communicate with her throughout the day, which the friend indicated was unusual. The friend was concerned and had gone to Madeline's residence, saw her minivan in the driveway, and knocked on the door. No one responded. The friend also told police that she was aware that Madeline was having issues with her significant other who also lived at the residence. The friend identified the significant other as Adam Fravel. Winona police officers met the friend at Madeline's residence located in Winona, Minnesota. An officer knocked on the door of the residence and looked in the windows. No one responded, and the officer did not see anyone inside. Shortly thereafter, officers spoke with Madeline's father on the telephone and learned that her family had also not had contact with her that day. The father reported that it was uncharacteristic for Madeline not to have contact with family members or friends. A Winona police officer spoke with Adam by telephone. Fravel told them he had not heard from Madeline since early in the morning, that she was supposed to pick up their children at the daycare after she finished working, but she did not. Fravel stated he picked up the children at the daycare and took them to his parents' residence in Mabel, Minnesota, totally different city. Later, picked up the children at the daycare and later that evening, officers were able to conduct a welfare check inside the Winona residence and determined no one was inside. They talked to the daycare provider who confirmed that they both dropped the kids off at daycare that morning, not just Madeline, at about 8:05. But when he picked up the children that afternoon, he was alone. On April 1st, they had a search warrant for the house. The interior of the residence was cluttered, but there did not appear to be overt signs of a struggle. During the search, law enforcement officers located what investigators later determined to be Madeline's cell phone, jacket, and purse in the residence. Investigators also located a laptop computer that later determined Madeline used to work from home. Investigators later obtained access to the cell phone database. It was determined that a text message was sent from the cell phone to Madeline's sister on 8:15, 10 minutes after they dropped the kids off, right? Investigators noted that there were no subsequent text messages or phone calls sent from her phone after that. Fravel told investigators that he had met her in college. Um, okay, I want to go back to the story. Madeline told him that she begun a relationship with another man, but that he did not know how long the relationship had been going on. Fravel stated that on Friday, March 31st, 23, together, he and Madeline dropped their children off at daycare around 8 a.m. Now it's 8 instead of 8:05. Oh, the daycare said 8:05. And they drove home. Once they arrived, Madeline stated that she had an online meeting and afterwards was going to Rochester for work. He indicated he observed Madeline go downstairs to her home office. Also, during conversation, Fravel stated that he planned to do property storage runs most of the day. His plan was to travel to his parents' home near Mabel, Minnesota. With this might seem boring or whatever, but when it gets down to the bottom, hey guys, when it gets more into it, it's like it has a reference to Gabby Petito in it, and what he did to her. You gotta hear that. I'm just getting to it. The story's about to start. Here we go. So he, was going to his mom's to drop stuff out off to store it. And take things to Midwest Storage in Winona and then to his parents' house in Mabel. Fravel indicated that prior to leaving for Mabel, he stopped at a gas station near his Winona residence. He said that when he loaded up Madeline's van, he wasn't really paying attention to what he was loading. Fravel believed he left his residence and began driving the van to Mabel at approximately 10:15 a.m. Fravel continued with the following information. Fravel stated that when he got to Choice, an area in Fillmore County, he started thinking about what he was going to do. He said he looked to the rear in the van and realized the items he had were meant to be stored at the storage unit, not at his parents' place. He turned around in the driveway of a barn in Choice and drove back to his residence in Winona. Fravel believed he arrived at the residence about 11:30 a.m. and emptied the van at the Madeline Fravel residence. Fravel stated that he did not make any stops on his trip to and from Choice. When he entered the residence, he did not see Madeline. He stated he did notice his car was still home and thought that Madeline may have carpooled to Rochester. Fravel stated he remained at the residence for the remainder of the afternoon. During this time, he texted Madeline but never got a response. Eventually, he went downstairs and Madeline was not there. He stated that he texted Madeline regarding picking up the kids and asked about plans for supper. When she did not respond, he decided to pick up the children at daycare and drive them to his parents' home in Mabel. Also, during their conversations with Fravel, law enforcement disclosed to Fravel a concerned person's report that Fravel, okay, here we go, listen to this, that Fravel told Madeline that if she did not listen up, she would end up like Gabby Petito. Fravel admitted being infatuated with the Gabby Petito case. Fravel also admitted that he made a statement to Madeline about her ending up like Gabby Petito. Fravel claimed he was trying to make a joke. The Gabby Petito case made national news. It was the story of a 22-year-old woman who went missing. After extensive searches, Petito's remains were found near a park in Wyoming. It was reported she died of strangulation. Investigative officers spoke with a friend of Madeline who indicated that sometime in 2020 or 2021, she was on a video call with Madeline, who was at her Winona residence. Madeline was standing up, holding one of her children and cooking. The friend observed Fravel enter the room and yell at Madeline to keep quiet. Madeline asked Fravel to calm down, and he stated he was not going to calm down, and he struck her in the face with his hand. It appeared that Fravel was not aware he was being observed on the video call, as when the friend yelled at Fravel over the video call, he immediately left the room. The friend told investigators that there were several times during video calls that she observed bruises on Madeline's face. When the friend inquired about the bruises, Madeline would cover them with her sweater. She had a red mark on the side of her neck. Okay, so I want to read this to you. Pursuant to search warrants, investigating officers conducted forensic extractions on 2 Apple iPhones believed to belong to Madeline. A review of the forensic extractions of those 2 phones revealed Kingsbury as the owner and user. There were messages as well as screenshots of messages between Madeline and Fravel dating back numerous years. One screenshot taken on September 21st, 2021, that's my cousin's birthday, contained the following iMessage conversation between Madeline and Fravel. Okay, you ready? Here we go. Maddie. So this is Madeline speaking. You know, I'm not really okay with or over the fact that you put your hands around my neck and pushed me down in front of the kids earlier. So don't. Not okay with it at all, especially with them there. He says, you'll adjust. He says, the fuck I will. She says, you do that again without asking me, and you can go somewhere else. He says, you got it, mother. She says, don't patronize me, that crossed the line. He said, then mind. She said, stop. And then this is the timeline of events that they say happened. Sorry, it's a lot to read. Law enforcement investigators were able to obtain videos from security cameras and motion detection video devices at multiple residents and businesses located in the Winona neighborhood where Madeline Kingsbury and Adam Fravel resided, and along the route Fravel stated he took towards his parents' residence the morning of March 31st, 23. The videos reveal the following events from March 31st, 2023. I'm sorry. Here we go. All right, Berto, be prepared to be more wowed. At 9:44 a.m., Madeline's van is observed in the driveway of the residence in Winona. A person in a light-colored coat is observed walking up to the front of the van, bends over, and appears to remove the front license plate on the van. 9:47. The van is still in the driveway and the same person is observed kneeling in front of the van and appears to be reinstalling a license plate. At 9:55 a.m., a person wearing a light-colored coat or a sweatshirt gets into Madeline's van while it is parked in the driveway at the residence. 10 a.m., the van is no longer at the residence. 10:02, the van is observed parked at the gas station where Fravel said he had gotten gas, and a person wearing a light-colored jacket matching the general description of Adam is observed pumping gas. Investigators also noted that the license plate on the van matches the license plate registered to Fravel's car, not the plates registered to the van. Investigating officers noticed that when they observed the van later in the evening, the license plates registered to the van were back on the van. 10:31 a.m. The van is observed backed into the driveway at the residence. 10:26 a.m. 11:26 a.m. So almost an hour. The van is observed driving away from the residence. 11:44 a.m. A van matching the description of Madeline's van is observed traveling southbound on Highway 43 in the direction of Mabel. 11:56 a.m. A van matching the description of Madeline's van is observed traveling southbound on Highway 43 in Rushford and in the direction of Mabel. 11:59. If y'all want to see this while I'm reading it, I can share it with you guys. I didn't even think about it. I'm sorry. All right, here we go. Let me put it bigger. Okay. There you go, guys. I hope you can read it. Okay. 12:44 p.m. Approximately 45 minutes later, after driving southbound towards Mabel, a van matching the description of Madeline's van is observed on a video from the same location traveling northbound back into the direction of Winona, where they live. 12:47 p.m. A van matching the description of Madeline's van is observed traveling northbound on Highway 43 in Rushford. 1 p.m. A van matching the description of Madeline's van is observed traveling northbound on Highway 43 and turned on to get into Winona. 1:28 p.m. A van matching the description of Madeline's van is observed in the driveway of her Winona residence. As part of their investigation, law enforcement officers traveled the route Fravel stated he drove on the morning of March 31st. Investigators noted that with the exception of the 15-minute time period between the time he is observed traveling south of Rushford on 43 and later at the same location traveling northbound on 43, The times are consistent with normal expected travel times between the locations. On June 7th, 2023, a deputy with Fillmore County Sheriff's Office was searching a rural area in Fillmore County next to a public gravel road approximately 1 mile from Highway 43 between Choice and Mabel. Hold on, guys, 1 second. You ain't seen nothing yet. I'm just taking a little quick breather, guys. I'm sorry. Here we go. Investigating officers learned that this property had been routinely maintained by one or more Fravel family members. This property was also near the residence of Fravel's parents. While searching the property, the deputy located human remains in a culvert adjoining the gravel road. The remains had been wrapped in what appeared to be a gray fitted bedsheet that had been closed with a black gorilla tape. You know that gorilla tape and that gorilla glue. That girl that remember that girl that gorilla glued her hair on. Investigators noted that during a previous search of Madeline Fravel's residence, they observed a roll of black gorilla tape that appears to be the same color and width as the tape found on the fitted sheet that Madeline was wrapped in. Investigators also noted that the gray fitted sheet appears to be the fitted sheet that Madeline was wrapped in. Investigators also noted that the gray fitted sheet appears to be similar to other bedding at the Winona residence. Additionally, the air mattress from the Winona residence was missing a fitted sheet. On top of the air mattress, without a fitted sheet, were pillows that had gray pillowcases. The human remains were transferred to the Southern Minnesota Regional Medical Center's office in Rochester, Minnesota. The medical examiner's office identified the human remains as Madeline Jane Kingsbury from dental records and tattoos. The medical examiner noted that a knotted towel had been wrapped around her head and neck. The medical examiner's office performed an autopsy. A preliminary autopsy report determined the manner and cause of death as homicide and homicidal violence. It appears she died just like Gabby, just like he told her and he promised. So he was charged with the charges that I said earlier: murder in the second degree, murder in the second degree. Yeah, just 2 murder charges. And if I'm not mistaken, let me see. This is the guy that, no, that's Chad Dorman. Okay, never mind. People, people, people. I mean, come on. Oops. Oh, snap. Hold on. It just started playing on its own. We're going to listen to my favorite person very, very soon. Yeah, he's sick, dude. I don't know. I can't deal with these people. It's sad. It's so sad. I understand because that could have been me. And I think that's why it gets to me so much. Because just one blow harder, just like Adam did to Harmony, that could have been me. And it tears me up inside. Next, we go to Kouri Richins How did she? Well, what did she do? She's accused of killing her husband with a Moscow mule. I never had one. I've never even heard of it until this case. Um, that she poisoned with 5 times the lethal dose of fentanyl. And yeah, so he died. Hey, Harry. Wait, Lucky. Oh, yeah, he is still here. Rapper, please be nice and just bought Pink Bow. Thank you. All right. Then we have okay, let me do this one first and play Nancy Grace last. Courtney Clenney. She doesn't have a trial date yet, I don't think, but she just had a hearing on 12/16. She's trying to get rid of the recordings of video of her being abusive to him, trying to get them thrown out of the trial. Judge said, hell no, I don't think so. They're going to be in the trial. They're going to see just how abusive you are in the elevator, at home, in public. Hell yeah, they're going to see who you are. So back to Adam Fravel. The next hearing for him is March 24, and his expected trial date is 10/24. I don't know why they want to put all my people's trials together. I have Lori and Chad together. I have Adam and Alexi together. Why, people? I want to do all of them. So then that was Adam. Now we're to Kouri. Um, so she poisoned her husband, right? This is all about money, people. What did the prosecution say for Lori's opening? Power, sex, money, right? That's what this case is about. And it appears that's what this case is about too. Then, after she kills him, right? She kills her husband, father of her children. She writes a book, a children's book for her children, for grieving children to get over the loss or to help with grieving of a lost parent. The book is called Are You With Me? And we're going to listen to Nancy Grace a little while. I think I've done enough reading. And here we go, guys.
A young mom seemingly devastated when her husband dies of what appears to be a fentanyl overdose, moved so deeply by her grief. She actually writes a children's book to deal with mourning and grieving. That would be so heartbreaking and touching. If I didn't know, she's charged with his murder. Yes, I'm talking about Kouri Richins again. Now, believe it or not,
I love Nancy.
after authorities allege that she poisons her husband dead, the father of her children, by giving him a Moscow mule laced with a huge OD of fentanyl. Now, according to reports, what is found in her room? The written script she's trying to cram down the throats of family to paint her as innocent. Ouch. That's terrible. When the cops ransack your cell and they find you tampering with witnesses. I hate when that happens. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. Thank you for being with us here at Crime Stories and on Sirius XM 111. I just want you to hear Kouri Richins. I don't get it. She's a successful realtor. She flips these mega mansions and makes all kind of money. She's got a husband who's not cheating, working, supporting the family.
Millions.
Beautiful children, beautiful home. Why this? But I want you to hear it from the horse's mouth. Take a listen to Kouri Richins describing why she wrote a kid's book. Listen to Crime Online.
I'm new to all of this.
Kouri Richins appeared on Good Things Utah, a lifestyle TV program, to talk about her book on grief. She said she's done lots of research to help not only herself, but her children cope with the loss of Eric Richins, husband and father. Richins says what has helped her family are the 3 C's.
The 3 C's, connection, continuity, and care.
Richins says it's important to make sure the spirit of your lost loved one is alive in your home by bringing up memories, talking about the person, and doing things that person loved to do.
Okay, yeah. Well, her dead husband's memory is going to be coming up a lot in her murder trial. But what about this script that has been found in her cell? And wait a minute, before I go any further, Elaine Artavias is with us, senior crime reporter with The Messenger. Isn't it true that the woman has just come forward? I believe she worked for the family, a housekeeper who sold.
Oh, yeah. I know Nancy Grace can explain this case better than I can. And there's so much that happened with this case. That's why I'm playing her. I'm sorry if you don't like her. I totally understand that. Nancy Grace is not everyone's cup of tea. But yeah, I figured she would explain it much better because of the crazy things that has gone on in the case.
The Moscow Mule mom, Kouri Richins, who allegedly sold her the fentanyl she used to poison her husband. Hasn't that just happened?
Hi, thank you for having me. Yes, they do have texts between Kouri and the housekeeper where Kouri is requesting fentanyl, or she's requesting, the heavy drugs, more of. And so that has come out that the housekeeper basically was dropping off drugs at various locations, allegedly for Kouri.
That housekeeper's future testimony does not jive with the story that this grief-stricken mom is writing a grief book to help her children to keep the husband's memory alive. You know what? She can say it better than me. Let's listen to more of Kouri Richins from Crime Online.
Richins, appearing on Good Things Utah, said it's important to explain to children that just because a parent isn't present physically, that doesn't mean their presence isn't with the children.
He's doing these things with us, and he's, here for birthdays, and he's here for Christmas.
Richins says now it's just comforting for her children to know they're not living this life alone.
Dad is still here. It's just in a different way.
Yeah, murdered, according to prosecutors. I'm about to jump into the ransacking of Kouri Richins' cell and finding the script, but I just want you to hear more of Kouri Richins speaking out about how much she wanted to console her grieving little children. And just so you know, those children, 3 little boys, at the time, Carter 9, Ashton 7, and Weston 5. You know what would have really helped them in life? If they still had their dad alive. Okay. But no, that's not going to happen. That said, more again from the horse's mouth. Listen to our friends, Crime Online.
Richins says it's the family traditions that are hard for children, such as the parent typically with the child on the first day of school, helping the child cope with what they're facing. She said in her appearance on Good Things Utah that acknowledging those types of things not only gives her peace, but the children as well.
It's been a lot of peace for my kids to really remember that in the back of their head, that they're never alone.
Never alone. My rear end, Dr. Bethany Marshall joining me, renowned psychoanalyst joining us out of LA at drbethanymarshall.com. Never alone. According to police, she's the reason that they are alone.
You know, Nancy, sociopaths like her, they do evil things and they try to undo them. They do and they undo. So she kills their father and then she tries to undo it by saying, oh, it's okay. He's always with you. Also, this woman tries to monetize everything. You know, she's always trying to make a buck, always trying to get more money. I think that's one of the motivations for killing her husband, get him out of the way so she can make more money. I think this children's book is just another way to monetize his death.
And you know what? I want to pick up on what Dr. Bethany Marshall just said about the money. Elaine Odavius is with us, a senior investigative crime reporter with The Messenger. Elaine, I'm about to jump into the manuscript, as they are euphemistically calling it, seized from her jail cell. But there is so much money motive. They had a prenup.
So she was supposedly also writing a book in jail. And that's what Nancy's talking about right now.
She didn't like the prenup. He had a very, very successful business that he built up from scratch. Then there was the issue of flipping this mega mansion. She wanted to buy this mega mansion and then flip it. He opposed it. And then he dies. And within 7 days or so, she flips the mansion and then throws a big party, a boozed up party to celebrate the flip with her husband cold in the grave.
That's right. She repeatedly is acquiring money. In fact, when her husband died, the sister of the husband went to the house, and Kouri was already taking things out of the safe. There are things missing that cannot be accounted for, that's considered valuable and assets.
Excuse me, but could you please hit that like button for me? Thank you.
So over and over, there is a pattern of her trying to get more money.
You know, Donna Kelly is joining me, former Utah Senior Deputy District Attorney, lawyer for Crime Victims Legal Clinic. She also helped form the Utah County Sex Crimes Task Force. Donna Kelly, I know that after my fiance was murdered shortly before our wedding, he was on baseball scholarship.
If you don't know Nancy Grace's story of why she became a prosecutor, I recommend that you do. And she's going to talk about some of it right now.
And I wanted one thing. I wanted his baseball that he and I would practice with, would throw pitch back and forth. And I still have it. I see it every morning. I'm just curious about your reaction to immediately after her husband's death, she is in the safe, getting out whatever assets she can find.
It's very disturbing, Nancy. It is very disturbing. And she had an ongoing dispute, and her husband had an inkling that this was happening and made changes in his will to give things to his family as opposed to Kouri Richins. So it all kind of fits together. The puzzle fits together.
And I'm about to go to Dr. William Maroney, truly a renowned medical examiner and toxicologist. He is the author of American Narcan. And Justin Boardman joining me, former detective in Utah. And of course, that's this jurisdiction where the victim, Eric Richins, young man, 39 years old, the prime of his life, died a very terrible death. But I want to get to what was found in Kouri Richins' cell. Listen to our Cut 5, Dave Mack.
The Walk the Dog letter is a 6-page handwritten letter that Kouri Richins wrote for her mother. Prosecutors claim the letter instructs her mother and brother to give false testimony in the case, according to a motion filed in court. In the letter, Richins wrote, quote, "This comes down to jealousy, money, and Eric's partying that they don't want to acknowledge, and sadly, an accidental overdose," unquote. The prosecutors have asked the judge to restrict Richins from further engaging in witness tampering by restricting her from contacting her mother and brother. Defense attorney Sky Lazaro filed a brief accusing the prosecutors of breaching a gag order in the case when they filed the letter titled Walk the Dog as part of their motion.
Okay, Elaine Ottavius, tell me everything about the so-called Walk the Dog letter.
If you haven't heard of the letter she wrote to her mom, Walk the Dog, I do have a live. I did a live. Look at Nancy's face, the way I paused it. I did a live on it. And also I have her court hearing of when she tried to get it thrown out of court, the tampering with witness.
The Walk the Dog letter, first of all, is named that because at the top of the letter, in huge type, all caps, she wrote Walk the Dog. I think you can sort of take from that she was giving instructions to whoever this letter was written for. The state alleges that she was writing it to her mom with instructions of what to say. Hence, the state is alleging witness tampering. But this letter really sort of talks about, it's almost like this what if, and talking about what the drugs were for and how this accidentally happened. But in a conversation that she had with her brother, she's alleging that it's part of a fiction mystery novel.
Okay, what? Repeat.
She says that it's part of a fiction mystery novel.
I'm so happy. Elaine Ottavius, you just made me a very happy former prosecutor. So they are addressing the Walk the Dog 6-page letter that was found in her jail cell. And by the way, apparently when they came to and they found that, she went into some kind of a seizure. Never had a seizure before in her life, we've been told. But when they found that 6-page letter in her jail cell, she apparently suffered a seizure. Richins, the Moscow Mule mom, claims the letter instructing her mom to say her husband OD'd on drugs from Mexico, claims it is for a book she planned to write. How is that part of a book she planned to write, Elaine Ottavius? What does that have to do with the book? What's the plot of the book?
Well, here's what's interesting. So they released a transcript that she had between her and her brother. And in that conversation that she had with her brother, she explains that she's written a 65-page novel. And it's all about, from the detention hearing and what happens. And then she gets out of jail and she and her father go to Mexico where they're dealing with a ranch and a cartel. She's saying that this is part of a 65-page novel, but that the jail deputies, they pulled out this 6-page letter. She's claiming that this letter is actually part of a bigger novel and that they're picking and choosing. And on top of it all, she also claims that she wrote a letter on top of it saying that this is part of, that events have been changed, but based on true, situations that have happened to her. And what kills me is that it was hidden inside an LSAT book. So you do with that information.
Law
with
school
what you want.
admissions test.
Manual.
She's reading now, the damning letter appears to instruct someone to tell Kouri Richins' brother, Ronnie, to say he had been talking to the dead husband about his trips to Mexico, and that the dead husband revealed he had been given pain pills and fentanyls from workers on the ranch. Okay, let's hear some more. Take a listen to investigative reporting team from crimeonline.com.
KUTV says in the Walk the Dog letter, Kouri Richins allegedly wants her brother to say Eric Richins told him he got pain pills and fentanyl from Mexico through workers at a ranch. She allegedly points out how Ronnie's testimony could make the connection of Eric and drugs. In the letter, Kouri Richins allegedly says the testimony, quote, can be short and to the point, but has to be done, unquote. Richins also tells her mother to pass information to her brother in person, telling her mother her home and phone could be bugged.
So pass the information verbally and in person because the home and phone could be bugged. Let's get to the crux of this entire scenario, and that is the gruesome death, the horrible death of a very loving 39-year-old dad who was working like a dog to support Kouri Richins and their mega mansion and their 3 little boys as young as age 5. This is what happened. Take a listen to our friends at Crime Online.
According to court documents, Kouri Richins called police to their Utah home where her husband, Eric Richins, was found dead in the early morning hours of March 4th, 2022. Investigators said Kouri had given Eric a drink, a Moscow Mule, before he went to bed. She then spent part of the night with one of her 3 children who had a nightmare. According to court documents, in her written statement the night of his death, she said when she returned to their bedroom at approximately 3 a.m., he was cold to the touch, and she called 911. It was later determined that Eric had 5 times the lethal dose of fentanyl in his system, which officials said had been ingested orally.
Joining me right now is the world's premier authority on fentanyl and fentanyl ingestion and fentanyl OD, and also how to revive someone from a fentanyl overdose. Dr. William Moroney, the author of American Narcan, Naloxone, and Heroin Fentanyl-Associated Mortality. This guy, this doctor, is using his medical degree to help people with fentanyl addiction to the point he has invested his own money and all his years of education and experience to create a traveling mobile unit to help those addicted to fentanyl. Dr. William Moroney, this whole story stinks.
That is
heaven.
awesome, you
But
guys.
First of all, explain what happens when you get a fentanyl OD.
Especially
What
for
happens?
homeless
What do you
people.
experience?
Well, however you ingest it, if you swallow it, if you snort it, if you inject it, whatever happens, it goes to your brain, goes in your blood, goes to your brain, and it goes to a place in your brain that controls your breathing. And slowly you breathe shallow, infrequent, less and less, and you suffocate. You go through asphyxia. You lose all your oxygen and your heart stops pumping and you stop breathing. And it's got to be one of the scariest things in the world. It's like being locked in a tomb, darkness.
Wow.
You can't get out, and your body doesn't work, and your muscles don't work, and you get weaker and weaker. And eventually, if you can be reached with Narcan before your final breath, Narcan can get in your system and push the fentanyl off your brain, kind of like pulling fuzzies off your sweater.
I didn't know that's how it worked.
And you start breathing again. But if you don't have the Narcan, you die. And you stop breathing in 2 to 3 minutes, and you have 6 minutes before there's irreversible damage in your brain. We get a lot of people at the hospital that have been fentanyl overdoses, and the families keep them around for a couple of days. They keep them on ventilators, hope they're coming back, but they're brain dead.
Yep.
So you really need that intervention early. You need All pain and addiction patients in America should have Narcan in their home. And you know what the honest God truth is? Everybody.
I have Narcan in my home, and no one does drugs here. When I was prescribed pain pills and I was prescribed Klonopin, the pharmacy, and this pissed me off, you guys. I'm sorry. I'm going to tell you. The pharmacy made me buy, B-U-Y, buy Narcan. They would not give me my prescriptions without buying Narcan. Okay? Why do these people that do drugs, fentanyl, why do they get it free? And I had to pay for it, and I don't even do shit. And I didn't even need it. But yet they get it for free, and I had to pay for it, and I have insurance. It really makes me mad. I mean, it makes me mad, but to me, giving them Narcan is like saying, okay, do it, but keep this with you. And if you OD, just put it in your nose and then you're going to be fine, right? That's how it makes me feel, that it's telling them that it's okay to do it. However, they think that they're saving lives. It's so controversial. For free? Dang it, y'all, Walmart made me buy it at the pharmacy. I was mad. I was like, no, thank you. And he was like, I'm not giving you prescriptions without it. And I was like, even my mom too, because the one I had, I gave to my cousins. My cousin and his girlfriend smoke fentanyl. They do go to the methadone clinic. And that's something I wanted to talk about, because people that are talking about Cam and Allie going to the methadone clinic are totally wrong. Or if they're not wrong, the states are different. Because I took my cousin to the methadone clinic. They still do fentanyl. They still go to the methadone clinic. And not only do they smoke fentanyl, they also smoke meth. They speedball. So they smoke fentanyl to not get sick. Just to be plain, to have a regular normal day. And then they smoke the meth to have a productive day, to do stuff. And it's a horrible life. He had gotten into trouble. He's on probation. A few weeks ago, his probation officer told him, you get in detox before noon or you go into jail. Guess where he is right now? And I hope and pray that this works for him, because I'm scared for him. They're homeless. They slept over at my house one night, and my cousin was sleeping, and his hands were gray, like dead gray, and it freaked me out. And y'all know I quit 2 years ago in February, meth, and I did it with them. You know what I mean? Like, I did drugs with them because I did drugs then. And like, I just keep trying to tell them, I did it. I did it alone. I had no one, and I just keep trying to tell them how I did it and that they can do it, because if I can do it, anyone can do it. I'm just really worried for them. And all I ask is that you just please say a prayer for my cousin. I don't care about his girlfriend. She's not in detox. She's just playing around. My cousin's in detox. Y'all just please. Kaz knows the whole story. And his story is on my channel, all the way at the bottom, at the beginning of my channel. I did interview him, and he told his whole story. If you would like to go back and watch it, it's very sad and very telling. But yeah, so that's what I wanted to say. Y'all, they smoked at one point in time, I don't know what it is now, they smoked 20 fentanyl pills a day each.
with small children should have Narcan in their home for accidents, because this fentanyl stuff is everywhere. It's on dollar bills. It's in other drugs. It could be coming out of grocery stores or things that you touch at the gas station. We're in a fentanyl crisis. This is not an opioid crisis. Fentanyl is so far out of control, it's equivalent to a weapon of mass destruction.
Dr. Maroney, say I had a fentanyl overdose. Have you ever been asleep and you're trying to wake up, but you can't wake up? Or would it be like being inside a coffin and little by little, you know you're dying and you run out of air?
Both.
And
Both.
Talk to me and regular people talk, Dr. Maroney. I mean, what would Eric Richins, experience?
What all of the people I know that have come to me that have overdosed on fentanyl, but they got the Narcan, they came back, and now they're in treatment with medication-assisted treatment, they all say there's a rush of heat in the body as the fentanyl goes through the bloodstream, and then slowly you lose all consciousness. And what you described was sleep paralysis, where you're kind of in bed and you can think, but you can't move. Sometimes you can't talk. Not being able to breathe is got to be the scariest thing in the world. I would rather be cut in half and smashed with a car and shot 100 times and lit on fire than not being able to breathe. If you can't breathe, nothing else matters. And the idea that somebody would put fentanyl, the toxic dose of fentanyl is 2 milligrams. That's equivalent to 12 to 14 granules out of a salt shaker at the breakfast diner. If you shake salt on the table and you can get 10 or 12 or 14 granules,
Why it's got to be
that's
diner
enough fentanyl
salt?
to
Why
kill
can't it
you.
be
And
your
a
salt at
full
your house?
teaspoon is enough to kill everybody in the
Well,
room.
I got to tell you, Dr. Maroney, I saw.
See, I don't get it. How can they smoke 20 fentanyl pills a day, but yet everyone's dying by barely touching it? I don't get it. I'll tell you, I never touched that shit. Nope. Not me. I'll be the one to die from it. I got clean from the other shit. I'm not trying. No way, Jose.
Reports where I believe it was a lady cop was on a crime scene and she nearly died because the report was she touched fentanyl unwittingly. And I thought, wow, that doesn't ring true to me, because I've in court handled so many drugs with my bare hands and nothing ever happened. But it actually is true, isn't it?
It is. And it is the amount of fentanyl that touches the skin and gets absorbed. It's happened in the deputies in the surrounding counties around us. All the deputies try to carry 2 Narcans. One is...
Y'all, actually, I don't even know why I didn't tell y'all this. I'm sorry I keep stopping. I'm not going to do it again. My next live after this one is body cam footage of a woman that overdoses in her vehicle. So I didn't realize that I had that that thing coming up, and then they were going to talk about this. But yeah. I'm muting myself now.
For patients, or when they're chasing people down, or drug overdoses, and one is for their partners.
Wow.
We have to have Narcan, and even gloves. Sometimes you got to be careful, because those masks are a joke with fentanyl. They don't stop fentanyl, but people touching crime scenes, turning envelopes over.
So that is what is being discussed here, that Eric Richins, the dad of 3, OD'd on fentanyl. But now, what about a Moscow Mule? Justin Boardman, just in time, former detective in this jurisdiction, Utah West Valley City PD. Now, Boardman training and consultant. Justin Boardman, what's a Moscow Mule?
Well, Moscow Mule is one of my favorite beverages, but it would be
vodka and ginger beer with a twist of lime.
Now, ginger beer, we all had at Universal and Harry Potter Land. It's very tangy.
Absolutely.
I love it. It's not actually beer. Or is it beer? Because children could get it. Maybe it's more ginger than anything else. And ginger has a very strong taste, which would conceal fentanyl. I mean,
absolutely.
Yes, no, Dr. Maroney. Yes, no. Does fentanyl taste like anything?
Fentanyl's bitter. You need to have some strong, pungent, sour, sweet flavoring to cover it up.
Like ginger beer.
Like ginger beer.
Guys.
That's perfect.
So, Justin Boardman, the working theory, I mean, you're the detective. This is your jurisdiction. The theory is that she put fentanyl, a huge OD amount, into the ginger beer. Yes, no.
Yes. And that's the theory, that it was taken orally and was hidden in the Moscow Mule that he had that evening and passed from.
We're never going to know if she handed him that glass or if he just drank it on his own. But that's when you fall back on circumstantial evidence.
Absolutely.
Take a listen to this.
Evidence gathered revealed Kouri claimed she didn't have access to her phone that night. She said it was left on the charger by her bed while she was in another room tending a sick child. However, a data dump shows Richins' phone was in use during the time her husband was dying and that sent messages had been deleted. Additional evidence showed Richins was in contact with a drug dealer in Ogden leading up to her husband's death. The legal documents state she received both hydrocodone pills and fentanyl from the dealer. The claim was that the drugs were intended for a client experiencing back pain, even specifically asking for, quote, the Michael Jackson stuff, unquote, meaning fentanyl. Information from the autopsy report determined Eric Richins died from an overdose of fentanyl 5 times the lethal dosage.
Elaine Onavius joining us, senior investigative crime reporter with The Messenger. Elaine, again, thank you for being with us. You know, it's the cover-up is deadly in this case. Deleting text messages. You know what? My phone can barely work. I've got so many emails and text messages on it. I never think to delete anything. I mean, there are messages on there from 2015 and 16. Yes. So the fact that you suddenly have the urge to delete a bunch of texts and emails, which of course anybody can get from the cloud. But that said, explain to me, Elaine Odavius, she said her phone was in a different room, that night of all nights she went and slept with her boys while her husband died, killed over in the other room. But yet when authorities searched, they found out the phone was actually in use the entire time and that those particular texts had been deleted. Do I have that right? Could you explain that, please, Elaine?
Yes, I think, you know, a lot of times, especially, you know, with all the shows we see and all these previous cases, we see, you know, before, you know, they tried to take care of everything. You know, they have Googled, you know, how do I clean up this or whatever. And somehow they always forget about the phone. The phone has the ability to be tracked because everyone has like Find My Phone or, you know, the cell towers. They can see movement. They can, you know, when investigators, they have forensic investigators. When they subpoena your phone and they start going through it, they can see when it turned on, when it moved, all of these things. And so I think, you know, we will find out more about it in court when forensic investigators explain what they found. But thus far, we know that the phone was in use. So, which puts a crack in her story already.
A big crack, because if you got your phone, you can call 911 immediately. And does that mean she wasn't really even in the children's room when she's right there watching the husband die? Donna Kelly joining me, former Utah Senior Deputy District Attorney, this jurisdiction. Donna Kelly, the deleting the texts and the emails, the phone movements, it reminds me significantly of the Alex Murdaugh double murder prosecution where he was charged in the murder of his wife Maggie and son Paul. The forensic evidence showed that he was at the dog kennels where his wife and son were murdered, riddled with bullets because of his cell phone and because of another cell phone video. It placed him there. The phone then followed him to his vehicle. The phone traveled with him and his wife Maggie's phone. Then her phone is thrown out of the car, linked with the navigation system in his vehicle. I believe it was a Suburban. It shows every move he made, from letting the windows up and down to the speed to the ignition turn, you name it. Technology is a very powerful tool in the prosecutor's arsenal, Donna Kelly.
Absolutely. And the reason that juries love this kind of evidence is it's very objective. It doesn't have a bias. It doesn't have an agenda. It's just there. And so that evidence is very powerful to a jury. And it also shows the consciousness of guilt that the person has, for example, in deleting messages, immediately, that sort of thing. So it can show, the movement and the messages that went in and out, but it can also show consciousness of your own guilt.
You're right. So the state will then begin looking at other circumstantial evidence contemporaneous around the time of the death. Take a listen to this.
After Eric Richins' death, Kouri Richins hired a locksmith to open Eric's safe. Between $125,000 and $165,000 was reportedly inside. When Eric Richins' sister told her sister-in-law she didn't have the rights to those funds, Kouri Richins punched her. Eric Richins had also opened a living trust and placed the trust as his life insurance beneficiary instead of Kouri. We now know Kouri had purchased at least 4 life insurance policies on Eric Richins with death benefits of over $1 million.
Okay, Dr. Bethany Marshall, renowned psychoanalyst, joining us out of Beverly Hills. I tell you one thing, if my husband David Lynch goes out and takes 4 life insurance policies out on me, N-O. We're splitting up at that moment, and I'm taking the twins. Period. He can have everything else except those twins. 4 life insurance policies? What?
Nancy, when I listen to this story, I think of Kouri Richins as suffering what I affectionately term the Casey Anthony syndrome. Every lie, every maneuver, every motive is so flagrantly transparent. And from a mental health perspective, she's probably suffering from what we call cluster B. Cluster B is when you have sociopathy.
Are you saying cluster?
Cluster.
Okay.
Cluster, like a cluster bomb.
Okay.
So when you have sociopathy, borderline personality disorder, and potentially bipolar.
I don't even know what you're saying. Blah, 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 blah. She's greedy. She wants money. What are you talking about? Cluster what?
Okay, so sociopathy, they lie, they con, they manipulate, they have parasitic lifestyle. So there you have the money motive. Borderline personality disorder, there's clinging and rejecting behavior. They can plot and plan forever. Bipolar, where they get in such a certain type of mood where they feel no guilt or consciousness or remorse. So she has all these things swirling around, and that's why the story just gets crazier and crazier. And like Casey Anthony, everyone from the outside looking in can say, that's a lie, that's a lie, that's a lie, that's a lie. How can she not know that we know she's lying? And that's what happens with these kinds of personalities. They don't see in themselves what we see in them. And that's why the family went over to check the safe. That's why they caught her, is that they had been observing this for a long, long time.
Well, there's more to the money motive. And I can't wait for Dr. Maroney to jump in on how many dead bodies he's autopsied that are dead because of money motive. Listen to this.
Investigators say Eric Richins was looking into a divorce. He had recently changed his will and life insurance from his wife to his sister. 2 friends told detectives that Eric Richins was worried Kouri would kill him for the money. and wanted to ensure that his kids were taken care of financially. Even as Kouri Richins was promoting her children's book about grief on local television, investigators were looking into the couple's troubled past.
I've watched that interview a million times and never once did this woman shed a tear. Dr. William Maroney, renowned medical examiner, the love of money, the root of all evil. What do you think about that, Maroney?
It's really a good reason. It's at the top of the list. Money is it's like worse than love and infidelity because you can just enjoy it all by yourself. It's sinful and it's in every culture and it's in every country, and whether it's male or female, it's always about the money. And what I'm really worried about, somebody this reckless, people will reproduce this. And what happens, fentanyl is so dangerous, she could have accidentally killed her children.
You're right. The 3 little boys in the same home.
Oh.
What if one of them had taken a sip of that Moscow Mule?
Even if they would have touched fentanyl on the counter, or there was fentanyl dust and something like that, is just to poison somebody with fentanyl when there's small children in the room. That's insane. She could have lost the children.
Fentanyl dust. Remember, Maroney, Dr. Maroney, we just covered the case of a little 1-year-old boy who died in a daycare from fentanyl
in New York.
Dust.
Yes.
He breathed it in. The daycare was a front for dope. He breathed in, we think, or touched fentanyl. Guys, here's the kicker. This is not the first time, according to LA law enforcement, that Kouri Richins tried to murder her husband. Listen to the investigative reporting team at Crime Stories.
Valentine's Day 2022. Eric Richins becomes violently ill after suffering an allergic reaction after having dinner with his wife of 9 years, Kouri. He breaks out in hives, can't breathe, passes out after using his son's EpiPen and taking Benadryl. When Eric wakes up, he calls his business partner, Kouri Wright, to let him know what has just happened. Then, without Kouri knowing, Eric changes the beneficiary of his will and his power of attorney, replacing his wife, Kouri, with his sister. Legal paperwork suggests that Eric believes Kouri might kill him for the money, and he wants his children to be financially secure.
Kind of reminds me of Cult Mom Lori Vallow. Her husband was afraid that she would kill him, so he changed a lot of his financial setup away from her, and she killed him anyway, had him killed anyway, not knowing that she was no longer his beneficiary. That said, this reminds me of another incredible case. And, I couldn't make this up. Do you remember the name Dahlia DiPolito? Reportedly a former escort who marries the victim. She sets up a hit. She sets up a shooting hit to kill him and get money and a townhome. But of course, she sets it up with an undercover agent. And he's got it all on tape, planning to kill her husband, Dahlia DiPolito. So apparently she tried to kill him before in a poison Starbucks latte of some sort. Didn't work. So she tries again. According to him, he lives. The undercover agent stops the hit, but they pretend to her, this is a sting, that they're coming to tell her her husband has been attacked and he's dead. Now, Meryl Streep, I love you, lady, but move over.
Y'all remember
Dahlia
that?
DiPolito may beat you out for your next Oscar. Listen to Dahlia DiPolito.
I remember this.
Reacting to
In the
news her
road.
husband is dead.
I'm Sergeant Ramsey. I'm the one that called you. Thank you for coming. I'm sorry to call you. Listen, we had a report of a disturbance at your house, and there were shots fired. Is your husband Michael? Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, man. He's been killed. He's been killed, man. I'm sorry. Listen,
No.
try to calm down. Listen,
No.
right now, we need to get you to the station. We need to get you to our police station. I can't let you stay, man. We have to do our job. If you want us to find this killer, okay? We need you to calm down. I'm going to need you to go with these detectives, okay? Does he have enemies? Is there anyone that would want to hurt him? Okay, who would want to hurt him? Witnesses said they saw a black male running from me. I can't let you see him, ma'am. Ma'am, I cannot do this right now. Ma'am, I can't do it. Detective Yopi, I need you to take
And
it
they
to the
know
station.
she did it
I can't.
at this
Go with these
time.
detectives. If you want to help your husband, okay? If you want to help your husband, you need to go to the station with these gentlemen and tell us everything you know about who he knows, who he's connected to. Don't worry, we've already taken care of your dogs with animal control for right now. Everything's under control.
There's more, but I just listened to that all day.
Look up that
did you
case.
hear that?
What the heck-a-moly? Don't do this to me right now. Holy guacamole. There's only 6 minutes left and you're gonna buffer on me now? Yes. You should see it on the camera. It's yeah, with her, body movements and stuff along with what she's saying. This is really ticking me off. Am I frozen? Am I here still? All right, I'm just going to end this here because there's 6 minutes left. Oh, wait, here we go.
Tell my brother to go talk
Here
to.
we go, y'all.
Yes, that evidence is going to be explosive and very powerful in front of the jury. And compounding the actual letter is also the evidence that she's trying to manufacture excuses for writing it. She says at first it was written for her lawyer's benefit, so it's privileged. Well, that's obviously a lie because right in the letter, she refers to her lawyer by name. Tell my brother to go talk to the name of her lawyer. So obviously it's not written for the lawyer. But also then now she had to concoct a new lie because that one didn't fly. So you have not only the letter with the instructions of how to lie, but you have her excuses for writing it, which compounds, again, shows her consciousness of her own guilt.
While she is having some type of a seizure, guards search her cell, find a copy of a bombshell letter instructing her own mother to fuel conspiracy theories that her dead husband had a drug problem and overdosed. He was at work every day working, trying to pay for that mega mansion they were living in. In the letter, she reportedly asked the mother, to get her brother to concoct a story the husband, a year before his death, secretly told the brother he would get pain pills and fentanyl from a ranch hand in Mexico. She wrote that she would also say her husband asked the caterer, an alleged drug dealer, to hook him up with more, when actually that housekeeper caterer says that she, Kouri Richins, is the one wanting the money. So this is an incredible development in the case. And oh, by the way, I don't know if you guys knew this, but Justin Boardman in the Dahlia DiPolito case, she then claimed something similar to what Moscow Mule Mom is saying. She claimed that was a script. It was all a setup. They were all acting for a reality show. The way Kouri Richins is saying, oh, that letter telling everybody what to say about my husband being a dope head, that was part of a manuscript. That's the ticket. A manuscript of a book I was writing. It's not going to work.
No, that is a lot of drama, if you will. It also reminds me of a case that was investigated a couple cubicles over from my own, and that was the Susan and Josh Powell case, where Susan had put a letter in her work file at work that if she disappeared or died, that Josh probably did it. It's very interesting to me to see these sort of people get these intuitions that they might get offed by their significant other, like he did as well.
He really did. And you can read the entire letter at crimeonline.com, but it goes on to say, if you could read it, it says, I need Eric. Eric told Romney he gets painkillers from Mexico. You may have to testify to this. Romney should have gotten text from Eric talking about getting high. I mean, it goes on and on describing what would help her if they said it on the stand.
Nancy, can I jump in about?
Yes, please jump in.
Well, not only is she witness tampering, but this is one more example of criminals embroiling their families in their crimes. They don't just take themselves down, they take everyone else down around them.
I mean, if you read it, it goes on to talk about how you may have to testify to this. Maybe something like he gets high every night and won't help take care of the kids. It just goes on and on and on.
Remember, Casey Anthony accused her brother and her father of molesting her, and all these things. There's this thoughtless attitude. There's this callous disregard for family members. So the family members are used just as much as she used her husband. She used the press. She used her own children without any thought to the consequences.
This case is heading to trial. Isn't that true, Elaine Ottavius?
Yes, I mean, that's the goal. But there are so many more hearings that are coming up that, I mean, the next one, they're actually going to argue whether it should be dismissed. That's what her attorney filed based on this letter.
Okay, this was before the court
out of the defense
hearing.
playbook. Remember,
It was
tried
it
that
wasn't dismissed.
in the Brian Kohberger case. It didn't work. We wait as this trial unfolds. Goodbye, friend.
Well, that's the case of Kouri Richins. Money, greed, and power, just like Lori Vallow. Millionaire, but not enough. It's sickening. And now she's telling these kids how to grieve for their dad. And she's the one that killed him, and it's horrible. And I don't think she'll go to trial until 2025. Maybe the end of 24. But all the cases from like now, look, they're already at the end of 2024. October 2024, I think, is like the farthest out. So we got to think about where they're located in their courts and how backed up they are. To have a trial too. So I don't know. Hopefully it'll be sooner. But Kaz, you said she'll cry during sentencing. She cries during regular hearings now. If you watch her hearing, this one that they did for Walk the Dog, to dismiss the charges of witness tampering for the letter. She was crying. I have the video somewhere's down there in my channel with the other ones. I have a video of her court, and you can see her crying in there. She does wear street clothes when she goes to court, just like Brian Kohberger. We know Sarah Boone wears her jail clothes, and everybody else, I'm not sure. Who else wears street clothes? I don't think I've seen anybody else. But like they can get special permission from the judge to wear street clothes, and your attorney or whatever can bring them to you. But that's updates on the cases. There's really not much. It's just now motions and hearings and waiting for trials. I mean, all the investigations are done. They're just going through motions and stuff in basically all the cases. So, yeah, like I said, the only one that's really, really doing anything right now is Brian Koberger. So, I don't know. But I'll be back at 8 p.m. Eastern with body cam coverage of a woman who overdoses in her vehicle. I'll see you guys then. Have a wonderful hour and 20 minutes before I come back. Don't miss me too much. Bye, y'all.